Badminton is a racket sport played using rackets to hit a shuttlecock across a net. Although it may be played with larger teams, the most common forms of the game are singles and doubles. Badminton is often played as a casual outdoor activity in a yard or on a beach. Formal games are played on a rectangular indoor court. Points are scored by striking the shuttlecock with the racket and landing it within the opposing side's half of the court. Each side may only strike the shuttlecock once before it passes over the net. Play ends once the shuttlecock has struck the floor or if a fault has been called by the umpire, service judge, or the opposing side. The shuttlecock is a feathered or plastic projectile which flies differently from the balls used in many other sports. In particular, the feathers create much higher drag, causing the shuttlecock to decelerate more rapidly. Shuttlecocks also have a high top speed compared to the balls in other racket sports. The game developed in British India from the earlier game of battledore and shuttlecock. European play came to be dominated by Denmark, but the game has become very popular in Asia, with recent competition dominated by China. Since 1992, badminton has been a Summer Olympic sport with 5 events: men's singles, women's singles, men's doubles, women's doubles, and mixed doubles. At high levels of play, the sport demands excellent fitness. Players require aerobic stamina, agility, strength, speed, and precision. It is also a technical sport, requiring good motor coordination and the development of sophisticated racket movements. History. Games employing shuttlecocks have been played for centuries across Eurasia, but the modern game of badminton developed in the mid-19th century among the British is a variant of the earlier game of battledore and shuttlecock. Its exact origin remains obscure. The name derives from the Duke of Beaufort's badminton house in Gloucestershire, but why or when remains unclear. As early as 1860, a London toy dealer named Isaac Spratt published a booklet titled Badminton Battledore, a new game, but unfortunately no copy has survived. An 1863 article in the Cornhill magazine describes badminton as battledore and shuttlecock played with sides across a string suspended some 5 feet from the ground. The game may have originally developed among expatriate officers in British India, where it was very popular by the 1870s. Ball badminton, a form of the game played with a wool ball instead of a shuttlecock, was being played in Thanjavur as early as the 1850s and was at first played interchangeably with badminton by the British, the woolen ball being preferred in windy or wet weather. Early on, the game was also known as Pune after the garrison town of Pune, where it was particularly popular and where the first rules for the game were drawn up in 1873. By 1875, returning officers had started a badminton club in Folkestone. Initially, the sport was played with sides ranging from 1 to 4 players, but it was quickly established that games between 2 or 4 competitors worked the best. The shuttlecocks were coated with India rubber and, in outdoor play, sometimes weighted with lead. Although the depth of the net was of no consequence, it was preferred that it should reach the ground. The sport was played under the Pune rules until 1887, when the J.H.E. Hart of the Bath Badminton Club drew up revised regulations. In 1890, Hart and Bagnall again revised the rules. The Badminton Association of England published these rules in 1893 and officially launched the sport at a house called Dunbar in Portsmouth on 13 September. The BAE started the first badminton competition, the All England Open Badminton Championships for gentlemen's doubles, ladies' doubles, and mixed doubles, in 1899. Singles competitions were added in 1900 and an England-Ireland championship match appeared in 1904. England, Scotland, Wales, Canada, Denmark, France, Ireland, the Netherlands, and New Zealand were the founding members of the International Badminton Federation in 1934, now known as the Badminton World Federation. India joined as an affiliate in 1936. The BWF now governs international badminton. Although initiated in England, competitive men's badminton has traditionally been dominated in Europe by Denmark. Worldwide, Asian nations have become dominant in international competition. China, Denmark, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, and South Korea are the nations which have consistently produced world-class players in the past few decades, with China being the greatest force in men's and women's competition recently. Rules. The following information is a simplified summary of badminton rules based on the BWF statutes publication. Laws of badminton. Court. The court is rectangular and divided into halves by a net. Courts are usually marked for both singles and doubles play, although badminton rules permit a court to be marked for singles only. The doubles court is wider than the singles court, but both are of same length. The exception, which often causes confusion to newer players, is that the doubles court has a shorter serve length dimension. The full width of the court is 6.1 meters, and in singles this width is reduced to 5.18 meters. The full length of the court is 13.4 meters. The service courts are marked by a center line dividing the width of the court by a short service line at a distance of 1.98 meters from the net, and by the outer side and back boundaries. In doubles, the service court is also marked by a long service line, which is 0.76 meters from the back boundary. The net is 1.55 meters high at the edges and 1.524 meters high in the center. The net posts are placed over the double sidelines, even when singles is played. The minimum height for the ceiling above the court is not mentioned in the laws of badminton. Nonetheless, a badminton court will not be suitable if the ceiling is likely to be hit on a high serve. Serving. When the server serves, the shuttlecock must pass over the short service line on the opponent's court or it will count as a fault. At the start of the rally, the server and receiver stand in diagonally opposite service courts. The server hits the shuttlecock so that it would land in the receiver's service court. This is similar to tennis, except that a badminton serve must be hit below waist height and with the racket shaft pointing downwards. The shuttlecock is not allowed to bounce, and in badminton, the players stand inside the service courts unlike tennis. When the serving side loses a rally, the serve immediately passes to their opponent. In singles, the server stands in the right service court when the score is even, and in his left service court when his score is odd. In doubles, if the serving side wins a rally, the same player continues to serve, but she changes service courts so that he serves to a different opponent each time. If the opponents win the rally and the new score is even, the player in the right service court serves. If odd, the player in the left service court serves. The players' service courts are determined by the positions at the start of the previous rally, not by where they were standing at the end of the rally. A consequence of this system is that each time a side regains the service, the server will be the player who did not serve last time. Scoring. Each game is played to 21 points, with players scoring a point whenever they win a rally regardless of whether they served. A match is the best of 3 games. If the score reaches 20 all, then the game continues until one side gains a 2-point lead, except when there is a tie at 29 all, in which the game goes to a golden point. Whoever scores this point will win. At the start of a match, the shuttlecock is cast and the side towards which the shuttlecock is pointing serves first. Alternatively, a coin may be tossed, with the winners choosing whether to serve or receive first, or choosing which end of the court to occupy first, and their opponents making the leftover the remaining choice. In subsequent games, the winners of the previous game serve first. Matches are best out of 3. A pair must win 2 games to win the match. For the first rally of any doubles game, the serving pair may decide who serves and the receiving pair may decide who receives. The players change ends at the start of the second game. If the match reaches a third game, they change ends both at the start of the game and when the leading player's pair's score reaches 11 points. The server and receiver must remain within the service courts, without touching the boundary lines, until the server strikes the shuttlecock. The other 2 players may stand wherever they wish, so long as they do not block the vision of the server or a receiver. Let's if a let is called, the rally is stopped and replayed with no change to the score. Lets may occur because of some unexpected disturbance, such as a shuttlecock landing on court, or in small halls the shuttle may touch an overhead rail, which can be classed as a let. If the receiver is not ready when the service is delivered, a let shall be called, yet if the receiver attempts to return the shuttlecock, the receiver shall be judged to have been ready. Equipment. Badminton rules restrict the design and size of rackets and shuttlecocks. Rackets. Badminton rackets are lightweight, with top-quality rackets weighing between 70 and 95 grams, not including gripper strings. They are composed of many different materials ranging from carbon fiber composite to solid steel, which may be augmented by a variety of materials. Carbon fiber has an excellent strength-to-weight ratio, is stiff, and gives excellent kinetic energy transfer. Before the adoption of carbon fiber composite, rackets were made of light metals such as aluminum. Earlier still, rackets were made of wood. Cheap rackets still are often made of metals such as steel, but wooden rackets are no longer manufactured for the ordinary market, because of their excessive mass and cost. Nowadays, nanomaterials such as fullerene and carbon nanotubes are added to rackets, giving them greater durability. There is a wide variety of racket designs, although the laws limit the racket size and shape. Different rackets have playing characteristics that appeal to different players. The traditional oval head shape is still available, but an isometric head shape is increasingly common in new rackets. Strings. Badminton strings are thin, high-performing strings with thicknesses ranging from about 0.62 to 0.73 mm. Thicker strings are more durable, but many players prefer the feel of thinner strings. String tension is normally in the range of 80 to 160 N. Recreational players generally string at lower tensions than professionals, typically between 80 and 110 N. Professionals string between about 110 and 160 N. Some string manufacturers measure the thickness of the strings under tension, so they are actually thicker than specified when slack. Ashaway micropower is actually 0.7 mm, but Yonex PG66 is about 0.72 mm. It is often argued that high string tensions improve control, whereas low string tensions increase power. The arguments for this generally rely on crude mechanical reasoning, such as claiming that a lower tension string bed is more bouncy and therefore provides more power. This is in fact incorrect, for a higher string tension can cause the shuttle to slide off the racket and hence make it harder to hit a shot accurately. An alternative view suggests that the optimum tension for power depends on the player. The faster and more accurately a player can swing the racket, the higher the tension for maximum power. Neither view has been subjected to a rigorous mechanical analysis, nor is there clear evidence in favor of one or the the other. The most effective way for a player to find a good string tension is to experiment. Grip. The choice of grip allows a player to increase the thickness of the racket handle and choose a comfortable surface to hold. A player may build up the handle with one or several grips before applying the final layer. Players may choose between a variety of grip materials. The most common choices are synthetic grips or towering grips. Grip choice is a matter of personal preference. Players often find that sweat becomes a problem. In this case, a drying agent may be applied to the gripper hands. Sweatbands may be used. The player may choose another grip material or change his/her grip more frequently. There are two main types of grip: replacement grips and over grips. Replacement grips are thicker and are often used to increase the size of the handle. Over grips are thinner and are often used as the final layer. Many players, however, prefer to use replacement grips as the final layer. Towering grips are always replacement grips. Replacement grips have an adhesive backing, whereas over grips have only a small patch of adhesive at the start of the tape and must be applied under tension. Over grips are more convenient for players who change grips frequently, because they may be removed more rapidly without damaging the underlying material. Shuttlecock. A shuttlecock is a high-drag projectile with an open conical shape. The cone is formed from 16 overlapping feathers embedded into a rounded cork base. The cork is covered with thin leather or synthetic material. Synthetic shuttles are often used by recreational players to reduce the costs as feathered shuttles break easily. These nylon shuttles may be constructed with either natural cork or synthetic foam base, and a plastic skirt. Badminton rules also provide for testing a shuttlecock for the correct speed. 3.1 To test a shuttlecock, hit a full underhand stroke which makes contact with the shuttlecock over the back boundary line. The shuttlecock shall be hit at an upward angle and in a direction parallel to the sidelines. 3.2 A shuttlecock of the correct speed will land not less than 530 mm and not more than 990 mm short of the other back boundary line. Shoes. Badminton shoes are lightweight with soles of rubber, similar high-grip, non-marking materials. Compared to running shoes, badminton shoes have little lateral support. High levels of lateral support are useful for activities where lateral motion is undesirable and unexpected. Badminton, however, requires powerful lateral movements. A highly built-up lateral support will not be able to protect the foot in badminton. Instead, it will encourage catastrophic collapse at the point where the shoe's support fails, and the player's ankles are not ready for the sudden loading, which can cause sprains. For this reason, players should choose badminton shoes rather than general trainers or running shoes, because proper badminton shoes will have a very thin sole, lower a person's center of gravity, and therefore result in fewer injuries. Players should also ensure that they learn safe and proper footwork, with the knee and foot in alignment on all lunges. This is more than just a safety concern. Proper footwork is also critical in order to move effectively around the court.